The George Soros-funded Center for American Progress, led by corporate Democrat extraordinaire Neera Tanden, recently held an ideas conference where they brought together all of the potential 2020 presidential contenders, and they decided to share their ideas about policy, talk about what the party should do going forward and how they can appeal to voters. But there was one potential 2020 presidential contender that was conspicuously absent from this event. And that individual is Bernie Sanders. Now, Bernie Sanders didn't go to this event, not because he didn't want to, but because he wasn't invited to go to this event. So The Nation explains, in the battle over ideas in the Democratic Party, it's clear the moderates aren't getting much quarter. This was on display at the Ideas Conference held Tuesday by the Center for American Progress, the central policy and personnel clearinghouse for Democratic administrations. Just before the event, the think tank released a Marshall Plan for America, an ambitious jobs guarantee via a large-scale permanent program of public employment and infrastructure investment. The racially and gender-diverse main speakers ranged from the liberal to the very liberal. Senator Elizabeth Warren gave a strong lunch keynote demanding strong antitrust enforcement to break up concentrated economic power. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand extolled the necessity of paid family leave. Senator Cory Booker demanded universal health care. Senator Kamala Harris called for the total decriminalization of marijuana and the election of progressive prosecutors nationwide. Representative Keith Ellison called Trump's voter fraud commission a scam and a setup. And Senator Jeff Merkley demanded a green transformation of the energy economy that would put every coal electricity generating plant into a museum by the year 2050. Many of these speakers, particularly the ones gifted a keynote speaking spot, are widely rumored to be seeking the White House, and the mainstream media portrayed the event as a cattle call for 2020 candidates. But there was an awkward absence. Senator Bernie Sanders, he was not invited to the Ideas Conference, and his exclusion makes clear that while Democrats are converging around a general set of ideological principles, the party still faces some serious coalition building problems. CAP President Neera Tanden explained to the Washington Post, "We were trying to emphasize a new generation," and a CAP spokesperson told The Nation that nobody who ran for president before was invited. Attendance was restricted in other ways too. There was no website for the event, which was held at the swanky Four Seasons Hotel, nor a way for anyone to attend unless CAP sent a personal invite, though one could pay $1,000 to attend the Progressive Party after the conference. The audience was primarily donors to the think tank, as well as CAP's professional allies across D.C. and representatives of some grassroots organizing groups, including Wall of Us, Town Hall Project, Action Group Network, Men for Choice, New Leaders Council, Action Alliance, Rise Stronger, Run for Something, 5calls.org, Democracy Labs, and Flippable. But an invite-only event at one of the most expensive hotels still created a distinctly elite feel, despite the genuinely populist economic agenda that was being promoted. So this says a lot about where the Democratic Party's priorities are and the way they truly feel about the progressive wing of the party. And I'm glad that Bernie Sanders didn't go, because I wouldn't have wanted him to attend this Democratic Party circle jerk where a bunch of donors get together at this swanky hotel and they talk about things while excluding grassroots activists, because I don't think that's Bernie's style, so I don't think he would have attended it. And also, it would be a bad look. But the justification to me for excluding Bernie Sanders is hilarious, because Neera Tanden had her head so far up Hillary Clinton's asshole that she couldn't even see light anymore. She was one of the biggest cheerleaders for Hillary Clinton. She pushed for Hillary Clinton relentlessly to the detriment of Bernie Sanders. She continues to smear grassroots progressives, but apparently she didn't invite Bernie because, he ran before. Well, I would have more respect for Neera Tanden if she just straight up told the truth, because everybody knows that she hates Bernie Sanders. Now, to me, I think the fact that a corporate tool like Neera Tanden, holding this meeting with donors, high-dollar donors, mind you, who fund the Center for American Progress, that's not surprising. This doesn't surprise me about Neera Tanden, but here's what does surprise me. People like Elizabeth Warren, people like Jeff Merkley and Keith Ellison, so-called progressives who decided to attend this. They could have taken a stand and said, you know what, look, Bernie Sanders, who is the most popular politician in the country, he's the future of the party. And if he's excluded, that sounded really dirty. If Bernie Sanders is excluded and isn't even given an invite, then I'm not going to associate with the Center for American Progress. But, being opportunistic tools of the establishment, Elizabeth Warren, Keith Ellison, Jeff Merkley, they decided to go along with Neera Tanden. This speaks volumes, and pretty soon Elizabeth Warren is going to have to make a choice. Is she with us or against us? Because she continues to play both sides. She praises Hillary Clinton for starting a super PAC, and then she endorses Hillary Clinton, but then she talks a good game when it comes to regulating Wall Street. Elizabeth, are you progressive or are you not progressive? What's it going to be? Are you with us or against us? Because if you're part of the establishment, you're against the grassroots. They are in direct opposition. Those are two mutually exclusive camps, and you can't have feet in both camps. You've got to pick a side, Elizabeth. So which side is it? And I'm just so embarrassed that my senator, Jeff Merkley, would attend this. And Keith Ellison, I mean, you had so much grassroots support when you ran to be the DNC chair, and you attended this anti-grassroots conference? Really? Really? You attended the conference hosted by a corporate tool, Neera Tanden, who is opposed to the grassroots activism in the country. She won't tell you that she's opposed to it, but she's opposed to it. So why would they show up to this event, especially if one of their colleagues is excluded? Well, look, I'm glad you didn't invite Bernie, because it says more about you than it does about Bernie Sanders. And if Bernie Sanders would have attended this event, he would have been tainted, because we don't want anything to do with the Center for American Progress, because you're not about progress. You're not in favor of getting money out of politics. You're funded by George Soros, the Koch brother equivalent on the Democratic Party side. That's not acceptable. We want nothing to do with George Soros. He can take all the money he has and shove it right up his ass. We want nothing to do with that. We want nothing to do with you. So to Elizabeth Warren, Jeff Merkley, Keith Ellison, if you really plan on running for president in 2020, think about your actions. Think carefully about what you do and how that's perceived by grassroots activists, because as Hillary Clinton demonstrated, if you don't win us over, you don't win the White House. It's that simple.
Support this podcast by joining the independent progressive media revolution today at humanistreport.com.